Welcome to the 2019 Bloomington State of the City Address, featuring Mayor Gene Winstead and City Manager Jamie Verbrugge. I am Terry Lowe, the current president of the Rotary Club of Bloomington. We are a longtime partner with the city and chamber and the annual State of the City event. The Bloomington Rotary Club has been collaborating with the State of the City in this annual tradition for more than a decade and a half. We are one of 35,000 clubs doing good around the world under the motto of service above self. You may have heard of recent outbreaks from childhood diseases such as measles. Rotary is working on eliminating the crippling childhood disease of polio. We are this close to doing that, with only 6 cases reported worldwide as of today. If you'd like to learn more about Rotary, please talk to our Rotary members sitting throughout the room. I would now like to introduce the president of the Bloomington Chamber, Kim Hansen, for her welcome.
All right. So, good morning, everyone. I want to start out by thanking each and every one of you for being here and helping to make this the largest attended State of the City that we've ever had. Thank you. And I know how important it is for us to hear from Mayor Winstead and City Manager Jamie Verbrugge. They're going to have a lot of great things to share with you all. I'm lucky to have a chance just to tell you about our partnership, which is very strong, as well as the great things the Chamber is doing for each and every one of you here in the room. So I first of all want to thank the sponsors. Also, we have more sponsors today than we ever had, and that's just great. I want to thank our presenting sponsor, the Mall of America. We appreciate everything that you do in the community and beyond, so thank you very much. I'll list off our other great sponsors and we can hold our applause. We are so grateful to welcome Bloomington Heritage Days, Walzer Automotive Group, Excel Energy, the Bloomington Convention and Visitors Bureau, Clearway, Minnesota, the Donaldson Company, Larkin Hoffman, Normandale Community College, Thunheim, RBCU, TRIA, and the Bloomington Noon Rotary. Thank you all so very much. I also want to take time to recognize the Radisson Blu. This is a fabulous anchor here at the Mall of America and its own destination in its own right. They come to the table and do some great things with us for this meeting every year. So I want to thank Harry Gorston, I'm not sure if he's here in the room, but also Marilyn Miller and her whole team. If they could stand to be recognized from the Radisson Blu. And a great round of applause also included is for all the servers that are working hard on a time frame to make sure that we get our meals and there won't be a lot of clearing during the presentation. Thank you. I do want to introduce one of our main speakers, and it is time for Mayor Gene Winstead to join us as the Bloomington's longest-serving mayor, and he's going to give you a closer look of what's been happening in the cities for the people, projects, and progress. Thank you so much, Gene.
Well, hello and welcome to this year's State of the City. It's great to see such a large turnout here. It's so many people who are engaged and involved in our community, and I'm looking at them right now, so it's good to see. And really, thank you to the sponsors who put it on. Their names have been up on the screen. Please pay attention. They're also the ones who help make this city great. And I need to even give a shout out to the Radisson Blu for what they have done for this event and really the meal we've served. And you also need to know that the Radisson Blu, at just this past week at our Bloomington Convention and Visitors Bureau, the Diamond Service Awards, Radisson Blu was awarded the overall food safety award for what they do. So you know that the food is not only good, it's as safe as it can be. So Congratulations, Radisson Blue. Our theme this year is Bloomington in Focus, and it allows us to take a greater look at our community, the people, the projects, and the progress that we have made. First of all, during lunch you saw a heck of a lot of beautiful images of Bloomington, and they were taken by residents and submitted during photo contests we held this past year. These photos are seen from the lens of people who live, love, and enjoy this great city. And there's really some very great photographs of it. It kind of lets people know this is us. They garnered much attention on social media and really captured some of the natural beauty of Bloomington. We are beginning the third year of the City Council's One Bloomington Strategic Plan, which was written with the goal of strengthening this city. We are united with one common vision of making this a better community. I've presented before about how the One Bloomington plan has 6 priorities, and they're up there. The council and staff have been working hard to progress in these areas, and they do include all of our community amenities, our community image, environmental sustainability, focused renewal, high-quality service, and inclusion and equity. And I think you can see that these are 6 great pillars on which to try and run a city. We will be highlighting these priorities throughout the entire presentation. But let's take a moment to focus on community image. You know, I've always referred to our city as the center of the universe. Well, what comes to mind when you think of our city? There are common misperceptions many times about the city of Bloomington. For instance, I'm not the mayor of East Bloomington. I'm not the mayor of prestigious West Bloomington. I'm the mayor of Bloomington. One Bloomington, and that's the message we're trying to convey. We did some research and asked some of our neighbors what comes to mind when they think of Bloomington. So let's take a moment, let's take a look.
What comes to mind when I think of Bloomington?
Bloomington. Why does that sound so familiar?
You mean there's something there other than the Mall of America?
Bloomington was really something back in the 70s.
Oh, it's that nice little suburb of Richfield. Right.
Bloomington is like a big brother to us. A big brother we never wanted, always trying to tell us what to do.
Well, Bloomington is the only city that I know of that manages to lose a Major League Baseball team, an NFL team, and a National Hockey League team.
You know, I used to love going to the Met Stadium in Bloomington. That's still there, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I drive through it on my way to the airport.
Do you know that congestion on the bridge, the 35W bridge? It's all of your residents coming to Burnsville for jobs.
Is it a suburb? An urban center? What is it?
All jokes aside, Bloomington is a community with so much cultural diversity and great community organizations.
Bloomington and Edina, it's like big brother Bloomington, little brother Edina. We work together so well. It's such a wonderful community.
I think in all seriousness, I think Bloomington is a really important city, and it's very well run. A lot of important businesses in Bloomington.
We work very well together, even though at times we poke fun at one another.
So I want to, have a little bit of fun, but really say thank you to the fellow mayors, the cities that do surround Bloomington. We all do work together, and they do have great leadership in each of their cities also. So it's just so fun to see them being willing to share an opinion about our community. And I hear from residents and businesses all the time that they love it here. And we have the data from many years of surveys to back that up. But it's interesting to look at that data from an overall image perspective and ask the question to others who are outside of Bloomington. We're focusing on our community image and vision and seeing it clearly. We want that image positive. This has to do with our priorities, whether we are headed down the right path, keeping our physical environment and facilities updated and renewed, providing high-quality amenities and services, and being in great financial shape, and how we take care of each other, all of our people. If we do this right, we will continue to attract new residents, innovative development, and dynamic businesses. Bloomington will prosper and thrive. We have continued to ask our residents and businesses how we are doing. We use surveys as checkups to gauge what we are doing right and where we need to improve. In 2018, both residents and businesses remained pleased with the quality of life in Bloomington, responding with high marks in many areas. There are reasons community members rated livability in Bloomington as excellent, and we have many successes to report this year, and here are some of those highlights. Our city can be picture perfect, full of beauty, full of fun,
If you don't use it, you lose it.
and full of people.
I think it's important to celebrate diversity because you can find similarities in people who are very different from you.
For many, the city is also home to many moments,
I feel like an artist.
memories that we'll enjoy for decades to come.
I don't know why, but they chose my picture and now I'm on a mural.
From the outside, Bloomington may seem like just another city. But those in this community see it clear. They see Bloomington in focus.
We're very excited that we're chosen to accept the Pride Proclamation from the City of Bloomington.
A city that makes inclusion a priority. Employees participated in Twin Cities Pride with a booth. Parks and Recreation hosted its first Unidos Fest, featuring Latin music.
It's important because we're all in this together.
And an art exhibit hosted by the Human Rights Commission gave a voice to families of immigrants.
We can all respect each other and make this world better. For who? For our kids.
Welcome Meals also debuted this year, another effort by the HRC to make new community members feel at home.
One of the easiest ways to start that initial conversation with someone you may not know is by having a shared connection of something, and food is an easy thing to share.
Residents also got a new chance to engage with their representatives at town hall forums hosted by the City Council.
The City Council really wants to set a new standard for how they're going to interact with the community.
Speaking of participation, Bloomington saw a record turnout for a midterm election this year, and the city's new organics collection sites exceeded expectations, with more residents participating than predicted. Normandale Lake is also getting a makeover. It was drained in the fall in an effort to cut down on the algae and smell caused by curly leaf pondweed.
So pack your bags, pondweed.
You are out of here. We definitely want to make this a lake that people enjoy being at and walking around.
2018 was a big year for progress on road construction projects. The Interstate 494 project from the airport to Highway 169 received funding from the Corridors of Commerce program, a big win after decades of work. Along that same interstate, the new westbound ramp from East Bush Lake Road opened, allowing access and relieving congestion without disturbing the nearby railway. It really is a creative design, and it took a lot to get it done. Reconstruction of the I-35W Minnesota River Bridge kicked off this year. The Orange Line also received federal funding, fully funding the Bus Rapid Transit project. And plans for the Minnesota Valley State Trail move forward, with the first phase of construction beginning this summer.
It really is one of Bloomington's greatest assets.
In South Loop, a renovation is underway at the Mall of America Transit Station, the busiest in the state. Down the street at Bloomington Central Station, the Fenley broke ground, a new 402-unit housing complex, the first project in the new Opportunity Zone. At nearby Wrights Lake Park,
It is remarkable.
the community mural was unveiled, a project that took more than a year to design, paint, and install with the help of many. These kids from Valley View Middle School played a role in each phase of the project.
I really feel a sense of community.
And at the end of the day, that's our focus here at the City of Bloomington, creating a thriving community as beautiful as its residents.
The Bloomington City is very good place.
I love Bloomington because it is such a very, very, very tight-knit community. It's very welcoming, very loving. You can raise your family here. I love it. Go Bloomington.
I love living in Bloomington. It's a wonderful city. It's well managed, well run, a friendly community, and I look forward to many more years here.
In order to focus on our vision and to guide future land use and public investments in amenities like parks, community facilities, transportation, and sewer and water systems that people depend on and enjoy, The city updates its comprehensive plan every 10 years. With the help of residents' input, we've been working on Bloomington's long-range comprehensive plan, it's called Forward 2040, over the past several years. Bloomington has had great success jumpstarting development in districts along I-494. And we will increasingly focus on stimulating redevelopment in Bloomington's core. For example, this bird's eye view of 98th Street and Lyndale Avenue shows plans for transportation and land use improvements around the new 98th Street Orange Line bus rapid transit station. Here you can see the Orange Line alignment and the station in blue at 98th and Aldrich. The green circle shows the station area focus. We've also initiated rezoning of several commercial properties near 98th Street and Lyndale Avenue to encourage redevelopment that better supports the transit service improvements planned for the area. Rezoning would foster a more urban character and allow mixed-use development, including residential. We've proactively worked with property owners and considered public investment to incentivize redevelopment of neighborhood commercial nodes, such as 98th Street and Nicollet Avenue, and Old Shakopee Road and Old Cedar Avenue. Our neighborhoods are essential to the community health and image, and we are continuing to work to ensure that all neighborhoods thrive. The Neighborhood Focus Area Initiative directs resources in a specific area of the city. It provides resources for housing rehab, sidewalks, park improvements, and loans for curb appeal enhancement for homeowners in the selected neighborhood. Continuing on the great progress we've made over the last 3 years, particularly last year with the Wrights Lake Park neighborhood revitalization and the mural on the east side near Highway 77, we will continue to focus on increasing home improvement loans in this year's focus area. The 2019 neighborhood is south of American Boulevard, west of Portland Avenue, north of 90th Street, and east of Pleasant Avenue. A new neighborhood will be selected for 2020. We also began discussing with multiple landowners east of 35W, and we're looking for redevelopment sites and partners in that area. Creative placemaking could align and build on other projects in the neighborhood focus area this year. Creative projects and events will also be taking place in South Loop this summer. These projects include a 3D sculpture in the shape of a great horned owl installed at the Minnesota Valley Natural Wildlife Reserve, a concert at Bloomington Central Station Park, and a Bloomington Cultural Festival at River Ridge Playlot in Minnesota Valley National Wildlife Reserve. New neighborhood restaurants are providing residents with more dining options. North Star Tavern opened last October in Normandale Village Shopping Center. And in the former Perkins, on that site, is Carmine's, a new Italian restaurant set to open this June. Snuffy's Malt Shop will soon add a third location in the Twin Cities here in Bloomington at 98th Street and 35W. In El Guanaco, a Salvatorian bakery and cafe will open this summer in one of the vacant spaces at Village Square Shopping Center on Portland Avenue. This past year, the city has focused on affordable housing issues, and the City Council approved a new ordinance that includes an innovative approach to development, providing flexibility and a better partnership model for developers. Let's take a look at this one. The Opportunity Housing Ordinance is something that we put together in order to really address what is, people have referred to as affordable housing within the community. It's really a broad-based, multifaceted ordinance that allows people to redevelop and develop affordable housing without being too punitive with development costs.
The real key to the ordinance is it allows great flexibility, a series of compliance options. You have the choice to build, payment in lieu of if you don't build, and a series of compliance options which will be flexible in the sense that you can build off-site, you can contribute land. It's a list of things you can do.
One thing that's really clear in what's come out of this process is an acknowledgement that there's really no one-size-fits-all approach that's effective in affordable housing, because so many project situations are different.
It's not here's what you have to do in order to build a multifamily with an affordable component in the city of Bloomington. There's some alternatives we have to choose from that can certainly help make that still economically viable, but also give the city the affordable component that they're looking to grow with.
I do think the breadth of it and the scope is what sets it apart from some other cities' housing policies. A lot of cities do have policies around the new construction piece, but I think what sets us apart is the focus on not only tools for new construction of affordable housing, but then realizing this NOAA space, which is the naturally occurring affordable housing, is really a key piece of the overall issue that we're dealing with in terms of the affordable housing crisis.
It was important to get the input from private developers because those are the ones who will be doing the building and the reconstruction and the rehabilitation of many of our properties in the city of Bloomington. So we did need to know what would work for them, and we were able to incorporate a lot of the elements into our ordinance that will really give it a high probability of success.
I can't speak to the policy aspects of the ordinance because we haven't taken a deep dive into it yet, but what I can talk about is the process. And one of the things that I think sets this process apart is the city's real genuine willingness and desire to engage with the development community in a meaningful way, to have discussions about what works and what doesn't work when we're all facing this very complex affordable housing problem.
The more perspectives you can get on a policy that's going to have impacts throughout the industry, the better. It's not only best practice just to get more perspectives, but you're also going to get a better product. In my mind, affordable housing is an essential, human need. Essentially, it's water, food, water, shelter, and so if you don't have that essential component to your life, it's really the baseline for everything else. So. We think about school children going home doing homework. If they're living in their cars or couch surfing, it's really challenging for them to have success.
Our city council has spent a considerable time going over this and reviewing this, and it's good to see that we're coming together to have a great ordinance passed and something that I think is going to work into the future. Time will tell, but we'll be willing to keep visiting this subject and making any adjustments we need to see to it that it's a successful program. That is such an important subject for the vitality of all cities, so it's good to see that we're able to work through this. For a fully built community, we have a lot of development happening, and not just in the South Loop, but all over the city. Bloomington has more than $500 million in investment between multifamily residential and hotel projects already in the pipeline. And here are a few of those highlights. Set for construction this summer is Portland Commons at 88th Street and Portland Avenue, and it's a 166-unit senior rental housing development, and it'll start construction June of this year. The Opus Senior Living Development with 186 units near 494 on West 78th Street. And then there's the Cherrywood, its first phase, with 108 units of assisted senior living near Normandale and 494. Nearly 1,700 residential units are in the pipeline right now. 108th Place, just south of France Avenue and Old Shakopee Road, that intersection, is a 3-story, 42-unit workforce affordable apartment building that will start construction this spring. Penn Place Apartments at 100th and Penn, with 43 affordable units, will be constructed in 2020. Construction began on the Fenley, a 402-unit multifamily complex near Bloomington Central Station, with 10% of those units being affordable. This project is the first in the new Opportunity Zone in South Loop. It's an internal revenue tax program that incentivizes development in underinvested areas in order to spur economic development. The Fenley is expected to open in June of 2020. A total of 1,032 rooms will be added from these 6 hotels currently in process. The Hyatt House, a Holiday Inn Express, a True Home 2 Suites, an Element by Westin, and the Drury Hotel. There's also Cambria Suites. Other major investments will include the redevelopment of Home Furniture, and that will be a flagship megastore on the southeast quadrant of 35W and 494 to house all 3 of its brands. And those brands are Home Furniture, Gabbert's, and Dock 86. The expansion will double the existing store, and construction is beginning this May. The Richfield Bloomington Credit Union is expanding and developing 2 branches. On Lyndale Avenue at 95th Street, the credit union is expanding its existing building constructed in 2010. And the bottom right photo shows the progress of a completely redeveloped building on West Old Shakopee Road near France Avenue. The city continues to analyze feasibility of the water park in South Loop as an amenity to the city and the region that would be the largest indoor water park in North America. The project would cost $250 million, and Bloomington property taxes would not be put at risk with this project. A nonprofit entity, not the city, would borrow the money and build the water park, leasing the land through the city. Estimates to benefit the city include an additional $1 million in admission taxes, as well as an incremental increase in lodging tax revenue. For more public input, we are going to hold a Facebook Live event sometime in the coming weeks. So look forward to that if you would like to participate. And we definitely need more input from these stakeholders, the youth of our community. See, you wondered when it was going to come? So it's, they'll be talking to me about it. We are working with SICK Sensor Intelligence, a German company that designs, builds, and sells intelligent sensors and related projects to keep its North American headquarters in Bloomington by facilitating a move from Southwest Bloomington to a larger site the city owns in the South Loop District. It's estimated that they will retain more than 300 jobs and create up to 1,240 jobs with the expansion. The first phase will be approximately 150,000 square feet of production and logistics and 20,000 square feet of office space. Within 5 years, we are anticipating their second phase to be a 130,000 square foot office building. 2 additional phases are also planned into the future, maybe 10 to 15 years out. Staff has been working with DEED, the Department of Employment and Economic Development, and Hennepin County to keep the company in Bloomington and in Minnesota. Both have been great partners. The city hopes to continue the momentum in South Loop with additional development in the near future. The overview at the beginning of the presentation mentioned all of the work being done with several major transportation projects. I encourage everyone to be patient. It will be tough going for a while, but when finished, these much-needed improvements will make commuting and getting around Bloomington and the entire metro area a whole lot better. It is no surprise that the majority of the photos residents took and submitted were capturing the natural beauty of Bloomington. Through more sustainable operations, the city is doing its part to protect our valuable resources for future generations. Many businesses, IKEA, Quality Bicycle Products, and Donaldson have also signed on, and they are participating in energy tours to highlight their smart energy practices. We are fortunate to have a very active sustainability commission whose members feel passionate about sustaining our environmental resources. After its first full year, the commission has achieved success. They've created the Energy Action Plan with a goal of reducing carbon emissions from natural gas and electricity by 75% by 2035. They've launched the Organics Drop-Off Program. They're establishing a plan to reduce commercial groundwater use by 350 million gallons by 2028. Restoring land in the Minnesota River Valley and making plans to restore an additional 20 acres of ecological sensitive areas yet this year. And by achieving Step 3 recognition in the Minnesota Green Steps program. I hope what I have presented today helps put what's happening in Bloomington into perspective. At the end of the day, it's the people who make our community great. Brent Toderian, a global thought leader on cities, an acclaimed city planner and urbanist, talks about how we contribute every day to the vibrancy, image, and life of our city, and how the individual choices you make, individual choices that improve your individual and family lives can also make us a healthier, successful community. Make sure you vote in municipal elections. Volunteer your time. Support local arts and culture. Support local businesses. Ensure that our immigrants and new people to Bloomington feel welcome, and speak up in support of something good for your community. Here's a snapshot of some of the people who inspire us to be the best that we can be.
Hi, Mary. We consider Clarence the mayor of Hopkinsville, but we just made it up. We just call it Hopkinsville, and Clarence is our mayor. And everybody loves the mayor. It's a real honor.
Believe me, didn't even have to campaign for it. Turned 94 in August, so I'm on my way to 95. Today I'm picking up mail at 2 places. Come on, Bonnie, we're going for a walk. They're all such good folks, and they're all my friends. And nice to have something to do in retirement, you know.
I lost my husband earlier this year, and this community was around me. I think it would be a great world if every neighborhood cared about each other.
This is Betty, short for Beatrice. I name all the buses I drive. I always wanted to have lots of kids. I had one biological kid, but if you look outside your box, I have lots of kids. And I treat these students, passengers, as if they were my own. I care about them. I worry about them.
If we have a question, she could answer it basically off of her head. She's very smart, and she's a great driver.
I love kids, period.
Behind me is actually me. I kind of scream because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me. That's crazy.
These projects are all about ownership and placemaking and people feeling pride in where they live and also feeling like they are seen as an important part of their home landscape. The install is always so surreal because everyone sees like this mural happening so fast when we know it's been this long community process, but it's so exciting.
I hope they think it represents life and how we have ups and downs.
I want them to think that they are being represented in the community's art and their ideas and experiences are being taken into consideration and being shown.
Some people underestimate kids and think that they don't have that kind of power.
I hope they get that like awe factor of like how we all came together and like how Bloomington is as a whole and like our diversity and how special we are.
At this time, I'd like to introduce Jamie Verbrugge, Bloomington City Manager, to provide an update of city operations and give you a closer look at projects I know you're going to be interested in. Jamie? Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for being here. I mean, really, thank you for being here. This is a tremendous event for our community. It brings out people who are really invested and want to be here. We get to celebrate every year, and so I want to express our gratitude for you being willing to celebrate. So give yourself a round of applause for joining us. So I can't think of a more fitting theme than Bloomington in Focus to help put the spotlight on what's happened here in the past year. We've had several of our city operations that have been in focus with service assessments. Our city council has pretty high expectations for the work that we do in service to the community, and you should all have high expectations too. So the course of our work that looks at these service assessments is trying to meet those expectations today and into the future. So in the past year, we looked at our public health services, we looked at human services, we looked at our print shop and our IT department. This coming year, we're going to be looking at police, we're looking at our fire department, our fleet maintenance, and motor vehicle. These are significant undertakings that are part of an ongoing commitment to constantly evaluate how we do our work and how we can improve the way that we work together, and ultimately how we can best serve our residents and our businesses and the visitors to this community. The work we did last year resulted in pretty significant changes to our organization. We restructured our parks and recreation services by aligning the golf courses, the ice garden, Creekside Community Center with our aquatics and our arts and recreation, and we created a parks and recreation department, which may surprise you to know that we have not had a department of parks and recreation. We do now. And the end result is that nearly all of the city's recreation programming and enterprise functions are linked together in one department with one director. And that director, who is newly hired, is Ann Catry. She is 2 months on the job now. She comes to us from the city of Edina. My colleague, Scott Neal, who is the city manager of Edina, is actually here today, Ann's previous boss, reinforcing this partnership idea that we have among cities. Thank you, Scott, for attending. I want to tell you the best thing that I heard when I was hiring Ann is Scott said, "I'm going to be really sad to lose her." That's the best thing you can hear when you make a reference check. Ann, welcome to the City of Bloomington. Would you please stand? So Ann was the Park and Rec director in Edina since 2012, and she has really a tremendous track record of accomplishment there and a well-earned reputation for a team-oriented leadership style. We're fortunate to have her, and we're excited to see her vision playing out for our new department. We also have a new Outreach and Engagement division that replaced our former Human Services division, and it was created at the end of the year. So this new division will serve as a leader for equity and inclusion, and will use authentic approaches to facilitate, engage, and connect with our city's stakeholders. Our team is here today. Our managers, Melissa Wurst-Prasad, and coordinators, Amanda Crombie, Emily Larson, Tracy Smith, and newly hired Nancy Webster. I'm hoping that in the months and years to come, you will get to know this team very well as they work to connect our community together, and they're led by our Community Services Director, Diane Kirby. Would our Outreach and Engagement team please stand? So as an organization, we've been working on initiatives to make Bloomington an example of inclusion and equity. In 2018, all of our staff went through 3 mandatory racial equity training sessions. These training covered topics like institutional racism, the history of race in America, and the ways that we can address implicit biases and continue to make progress. We've been intentional in hiring new employees that reflect the diverse community that we serve, as well as working to diversify our advisory commissions that work with our staff and our city council. The idea here is that with a more representative staff and with more representative boards and commissions, we're going to take a big step forward to ensure that all the perspectives in our community are considered, and they're also reflected and represented in the decision-making by our city policymakers. We have an ongoing mission to meet customer expectations and improve customer service. Our city's communications team brought home more than a dozen local and national awards last year for producing the city's videos, our briefing newsletter, the corporate report to the community, and for last year's State of the City presentation, all of which were award-winning. Congratulations to our communications staff. Our Assistant City Attorney, Jennifer Cross, received the Mothers Against Drunk Driving Minnesota 2018 Prosecutor of the Year Award for her dedication drafting legislation and advocating for improvements in Minnesota's laws to allow for effective prosecution of those arrested for driving while impaired. Congratulations, Jennifer. In our Parks Maintenance Division, Jeff Reinhardt was honored by the Bloomington Athletic Association for his work keeping the soccer fields in excellent condition for the BAA fall soccer programs. Jeff is here today. Jeff, would you stand up, please? Our Hennepin County Sheriff's Office recognized Sergeant Jeff Giles and Detective Heather Jensen at the 18th Annual Community Leadership Award Ceremony. The award serves as a way to recognize outstanding people in the community, making Hennepin County a better and safer place to live and work, and Bloomington is an important partner in doing that. Jeff is here today. Jeff, would you stand up, please? Is Heather here also? Yep, Heather's here too. Please. Officer Dan Walton was recognized with a hat trick. This is a fun one, especially if you're hockey fans. It's not the kind of hat trick you're thinking about, though. Our Office of Traffic Safety recognized him for his efforts to keep Bloomington streets safe from intoxicated drivers. He arrested 3 intoxicated offenders in a 10-hour shift on 3 different occasions last fall. That is hard work, but it's emblematic of the dedication our officers have to making sure that we have a safe community for all. Thanks, Dan. So it's easy for me to stand up here and say this, right? And so I'm sure you're saying, Verbrugge says the good things about the city all the time. Don't believe me. I want you to trust the word of our residents. So what you see on the screen are the many notes of thanks and appreciation from our community that we serve. And we make sure that we share these with our staff and with the city council because it's important for our team to know that the work they're doing is appreciated, They're not doing this for these reactions. Every time we get this kind of a reaction, though, it reaffirms the importance of public service and why we serve our community. I'm proud of the great work and the commitment to high-quality service that our team delivers every day and the positive impact they're having on everyday lives. Thank you to our whole city staff. Some of you may have seen this on Facebook or in any of our communications vehicles. This is Captain Pete Miller and Assistant Chief Jay Forster showing what firefighting looks like on a 6 below day in Minnesota. So the family that was living near West Bush Lake was very appreciative of our firefighters' efforts in January, but they were concerned about their missing dog, Rudy. There's always a story about a dog, right? So they had thought that Rudy may have perished in the fire. And about 2 hours into the incident, after searching inside and outside for the dog, Captain Miller found Rudy hiding under the deck near the back door. And somehow Rudy had managed to escape and survive. And Captain Miller and Assistant Chief Forster went above and beyond to assure that all of the needs of this family were taken care of during this crisis situation. And Pete and Jay are both here. Would you please stand? Thank you. All right, after a snowstorm in January, we had a couple of those. You might remember them. One of our residents was so impressed by the service provided by equipment operator Matt Solberg, she took the photo at left and posted it to social media. Matt was plowing near Moyer Park when he noticed a resident stuck in the snow at the end of the driveway. And the resident who took the photo said he could have plowed past, but he stopped. He got out of the truck and grabbed a shovel to dig the car out. Matt is with us. Matt, thank you for your conscientious service, please. Officer Michael Perrin, who responded to a 911 call, went above and beyond the call of duty in the eyes of a resident whose father had a medical emergency. She posted to Facebook how great the Bloomington Police Department is. Officer Perrin drove by the house several times after the incident to check on the family and let them know that if they needed anything, even their lawn mowed, they'd be sure to give him a call. So Officer Perrin is here with us today. Thank you, Mike, for the work that you do, going above and beyond, touching the lives of people in our community. So we don't just go around making people happy every day. That's a lot of what we do. But we do some other things too. So as the mayor likes to say, we have to check the box when we come here and just tick through the things that you expect us to do. And one of those is to manage our financial situation with excellence. So we adhere to a set of financial principles. Our AAA, the highest bond ratings from all 3 bond ratings agencies, reaffirm our excellent financial position. Out of almost 19,500 cities in the United States, there are only about 40 that have 3 AAAs. And Bloomington continues to be the only city in Minnesota to achieve this high rating. Congratulations to the City Council and our staff. We also take a lot of pride in the value of the service we deliver. At a cost of $80.99 per month for city services for the median value home, Bloomington compares favorably with other cities in Hennepin County. You see that dashed line that runs along the bottom of this graph is the city of Bloomington. So we're at the low end of cost to deliver services, and we do it in an excellent way. We're making sure that residents continue to get good value for the investment they're making in their community. There's a lot of work being done right now to revitalize Bloomington. We provide for community amenities that are desired by the community and work to improve the quality of life of our residents. However, we have a number of needs for improvements to our city facilities. So sharing with residents how we're planning for these facility improvements, especially from a budget perspective, is an important step gaining support for the work that we do. We had a new community center has been a major area of focus for the City Council over the past several years. Actually, it's 5 or more years, and we've heard from the council that we need to bring this to conclusion. So we're working hard to do that. But here's what our residents think about it. 63% said a new center should replace Creekside. 67% that a new facility should be built near Bloomington Civic Plaza, and 65% said a new center would improve the quality of life here in Bloomington. So most recently, the council's been identifying the specific programming and amenities that would go into the new facility. And we're also in the process of analyzing the construction and operating costs for a new center. So we've been weighing the merits of locating the community center at Creekside or Civic Plaza. Right now, it's looking like Creekside is going to be the future site. We're still doing a little bit of additional information checking for the council. And the council is hoping to make a decision on moving forward with the community center project yet this spring. We have big improvements coming. Big Bloomington Ice Garden. Rink 1 and Rink 2 locker room improvements will create separate restroom and shower areas. When Big was built, there was only one gender playing organized hockey in this state. With the explosion of women's hockey, we can no longer have locker room facilities that are wide open. So we have some accommodations that we have to take care of. The main entryway and lobby will be updated with a new entrance canopy, automatic doors, paint and lighting. Crews will also add Americans with Disability Act compliant ramps and platforms in rinks 1 and 2. And outside the building, the sidewalks will be widened. This is a $1.6 million project, and it's planned to begin this spring and projected to finish sometime in the fall. We're also investing in new fire stations. New Fire Station 3 at East Old Shakopee Road and East 86th Street will replace the existing Station 3, which is located just 2 blocks to the west. The project's necessary because our current fire station no longer meets the needs of the fire department. That station is 50 years old. The cost of maintaining and repairing the old building has become unsustainable. So our bids for our project are due today, as a matter of fact, so I'm excited to go back and see what those look like. To know that this project's going to be underway this summer and completion set for spring of next year. Bloomington Center for the Arts is a premier arts and culture destination in the South Metro, providing performing and visual arts programming and lifelong arts learning opportunities for the community. We have 7 arts nonprofit organizations that use the facility, which opened 16 years ago and is now bursting at the seams. After analyzing the space for the last couple of years, the city is seeking a state appropriation of $5 million to augment city investments to potentially expand the Bloomington Center for the Arts. Improvements would include a state-of-the-art concert hall, adding rehearsal space, improving the quality of the live theater experience, adding an on-site cafe, and securing equipment and storage space. This is an ambitious wish list, and we're hoping that we can bring this to fruition. But more importantly, if you have not been to the Center for the Arts, you're really missing out on an experience. So make sure you prioritize that if you haven't been to check it out. There aren't many cities that can boast about this level of arts throughout the community. One of our partners in this is ARTISTRY, an amenity to the region, and it's also changed the perception of arts in Bloomington. And in 2009, Andrea Speck became ARTISTRY's first executive director. During Andrea's tenure, ARTISTRY grew by 65%, launched a major creative placemaking initiative resulting in the nation's first municipal creative placemaking commission, undertook a major rebranding, and attracted the artistic leadership needed to realize the next stage of organizational growth. Andrea is leaving ARTISTRY at the end of June to seek a new set of professional challenges. We have one last opportunity to say thank you to Andrea for her leadership and commitment to our community and to the community of arts, and we wish you all the best in your new endeavor. Please stand. Successful communities are defined by the positive relationships we have with our schools. And I am proud of the many and ongoing supportive partnerships that exist. When we talk about community image, we can reflect on how our schools are such an important asset in this community. From preschools, elementary, high schools, and colleges, Bloomington schools are well known for their high standards, their innovation, their award-winning programs, and their top-notch education. Simply put, Bloomington schools are great, and we're fortunate to have such a strong system in our community. I'd also like to give a warm welcome to Dr. Deb Bushway, who currently serves as the president and CEO at Northwestern Health Sciences University. Dr. Bushway was appointed this past November, and she's with us today. Deb, would you please stand? And happy 50th anniversary to Normandale Community College. As somebody who's about to turn 50, I think this is a big deal. So when Normandale opened in 1968, suburban education was an entirely new concept. Over the years, more than 300,000 students have attended the college, and today Normandale ranks as the largest two-year college in Minnesota with an enrollment of nearly 15,000 students. Now, according to a recent Minnesota State study, Normandale Community College's estimated contribution to the regional economy is more than $400 million per year, almost $24 million in state and local revenue, and almost 3,500 jobs. That's a big job, and it takes a big person to do that job. And Normandale President Dr. Joyce Esther is also here today. Congratulations, Joyce, for the work that you do. Would you please? We're a community that includes all residents and businesses working together to accomplish the same goals. You know, we live in different neighborhoods, but we're not defined by boundaries. We have a large range and variety of businesses that employ our residents, and these businesses contribute to our community's vitality. We embrace the city's growing diversity, whether it be age or race or religion, and we embrace diversity with inclusion and equity at the core. We have differing opinions. There are a lot of opinions, but we work together to reach our common goals. We are one Bloomington, and we are connected. And I want to let our students show you what we mean.
I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you seem like I'm over here and you're over there, but there is something between us that's greater than air.
I think the song Connected is about like coming together and like being okay with who you're around and just becoming one with others.
Connected is about like becoming familiar with the people around you and being able to really like connect with them and be a part of them in the way that you want them to be a part of you.
And you get to know what their life is like, and then it's not stereotypes, it's actually getting to know a person.
I think it's important to be connected with the people around you so that we can support each other as people.
Because it's so easy to become isolated in today's society, and to be able to connect with you and your community, you're able to give back to your community in the way that you want the community to give back to you.
Choir is like a family to me, and I feel like I meet new people every day.
I can experience a lot of diversity and a lot of different people that I might not be brought with normally in my everyday life. A lot of people that I might not talk to that I'm now best friends with.
I love choir because it brings everybody together with all of their amazing differences, and we become one unified, strong group.
And it is the best thing you could ever ask for.
Start. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? It seems like I'm over here and you're over there, but there is something between us that's bigger than air. It seems like I'm over here and you're over there, but there is something between us that's bigger than air. It seems like I'm over here and you're over there, but there is something between us that's bigger than air. It seems like I'm over here and you're over there, but there is something between us that's bigger than air. It seems like I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? Seems like I'm over here and you're over there, but there is something between us that's greater than air. It seems like I'm over here and you're over there, but there is something between us that's greater than together, perfect from the start. I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start.
Thank you to the Kennedy High School's Con Brio Vocal Choir and their director, Nikki Jordan. Nikki, congratulations and thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to be a part of this community, and it's a privilege that none of us take for granted. Looking at the group that you just saw, this is the future of our community. This is why we do this work. And every day, I get to walk out of here smiling about the work we do. It truly is a privilege. So thank you for being part of this community. Thank you for being here. And let's go be one Bloomington. Have a good day, everybody.